My name's Tracy Manson. I'm a certified professional dog trainer and certified behavior consultant. And I'm excited to be here. I'm here with one of my pit mixes, Jade, and I'm excited to answer questions for you all tonight. Hopefully, we have a good group. We had a great turnout last Thursday. We tried to do one of these on Thursday, and we ended up talking for like 2 hours on questions. So I'm going to do another one tomorrow at 5. Probably not as long as tonight, just because I have a puppy board and train that's being dropped off at my house. So I'm not entirely sure what time they're dropping off either. So they just said late afternoon. So I'm hoping that it won't interfere. But anyway, yes, we're going to do another one of these tomorrow and kind of see how it goes. I've been outside all day. My lips are dry. Anyway, how was everybody's Halloween? How did your dogs do through Halloween? With like all the doorbells and the costumes and everything that. Hey, Nicole. I would love to hear how all your dogs did over Halloween. My dog, Miss Maddie, was not happy with me because I dressed her up in a tutu. We actually don't do Halloween. The kids around here do trick or trunk at the church parking lot, and since I don't have kids, I don't go. But I did have a fundraiser adoption event that I went to, and I took 2 of my dogs. I took my foster dog in the cart, and then I took Maddie, and since, she's a 70-pound blue nose pit bull, I wanted to soften her look a little bit. So she was actually an A22, and she was not happy, but she did it. She was a good sport, but she's like, "Oh, Mom, really?" So it was kind of hilarious. Other than that, it was a quiet. Hey, Brian. It was a pretty quiet Halloween. Although it's interesting that a lot of the kids up here went trick-or-treating on Saturday. A lot of them celebrated it on Saturday just because we live in a predominantly LDS community. So if a holiday falls on Sunday, unless it's Christmas, we do celebrate it on Sunday, but sometimes they'll celebrate stuff either like Saturday or Monday. So hey, Julie. So they did trick-or-treating and trick-or-trunk on Saturday, but then they also had kids go out again on Sunday. So they went twice. And we have this like neighborhood Facebook thing, and some of the people were like, "What's this with 2 nights of Halloween?" And we had goblins showing up at our door, and we had to turn off our light and tell them that we don't have any more candy. So Nicole says, "Wilma was awesome. She did tricks and got lots of pets from everyone in costumes." That's awesome. That's cool. And yes, I saw pictures on the Pupford Facebook. I saw pictures of some of your dogs in their costumes. So that was fun to see. I'm honestly so untech savvy that I don't know how to like upload pictures. And honestly, I don't know if I can, because I'm on there as an administrator, so I can go in and answer questions and stuff, but I don't know if I can upload pictures like you guys can. If I can, I don't know how to do it, but I'm pretty illiterate when it comes to technology. Hey, Renee, I was waiting for you. I knew that if Brian was going to be on, Renee was going to be on. So I'm just writing down names while we're getting going, and think of some questions that you might have. It is hot. Oh, I have a fan. My office. This is why I sometimes do this. Hey, Mandy. This is why I sometimes do this at my house, because I keep my house pretty cold. And Mandy, where are you from? Again, remind me because I can't remember. But my office is so hot. But since there's people here, I don't want to open the door because I don't want them to hear everything, and then Jade will get out. But in 1 hour when they close and everybody's gone, I can open the door. Oh, Ohio. Okay. I'll write that down so next time you won't have to tell me. So sorry, I have my fan on, but it is so hot in here. And it's actually been cold the past 2 days. We've had rain, and it's been cold, but just in here, these girls that work here, they have like 0% body fat. And so they're always cold, and so they crank the heat up, but then I die. So like right now I am literally dying. So thank goodness for the fan. So we were just talking about Halloween and how everybody did during Halloween, how everybody's dogs did. Oh, hi, Karen. Oh, you went to Disneyland with their 3 kids, their spouses, and 9 grandkids. Wow. You are brave. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I would have the patience to do that. I'm not a huge traveler, but just going with, I'm sure it was fun with going to Disneyland. But it seems like the more people you travel with, the harder it is. My friend and I, we used to go on a mountain biking trip to Moab, Utah every year. And it started out just her and I. And then the next year she invited 2 people. And the next year there was like enough for 3 condos, and just trying to find a place to eat that everybody could agree on, and like what to do. Like, well, we want to go to the lake. No, we want to go to this trail. No, we want to. It's like, that was my last year. After that, I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to go anymore. And yes, I believe that you're still recovering. As soon as it got too big, just trying to please everybody and trying to decide what everybody wants, I tend to just kind of go do my own thing anyway. And I always take my dogs. So that's a good out for me, because they all go biking, and then I'll go find a hike with water so I can take my dogs. So I just tell them, just don't really plan on me, and you guys just kind of go do your own thing. So it's weird. Can you guys see me? Because there's one camera where I can see, but then the other camera, it's like it's flipped, and usually I can see myself in there, but I can't. So can you guys see? This is weird. I've never seen the thing like that before. It's kind of weird. Okay, you can see. Okay, good. All right. Well, I would say I'm sorry that you can see. Sometimes it's better just to hear my voice. But hey, Maria. Usually by the end of day, I'm pretty frazzled, but I love doing this, so I look forward to it. But yesterday we had rain. I have a client that's 82 or 84, and he got a puppy. I'm like, oh my gosh, why would you at your age get a puppy? But he's doing so well, and this is such a sweet little dog. So it was raining, and today he said, he goes, Tracy, I'm just tired today. I'm exhausted. And I said, well, why don't you rest and I'll take your dog out. We were actually doing leash walking and learning, because he wants the dog to walk by his side. I says, I'll take her out and practice with her outside. Well, by the time I got out, it was pouring down. So I was out walking this dog in the rain, got soaked. Then I had another client later that day out in the rain. But that's just like what we do. I'm sure you guys that live in places that have weather like this, you do the same thing. You just do what you have to do. But we usually, this time of year, it's either rain or snow. So I can never guarantee like what I'm going to look like when I show up. Okay, so what questions do we have for training tonight? While you're thinking of questions, I will tell you something kind of interesting. My friend and I, she's a fellow trainer. We just have kind of gotten to know each other. She referred a human aggression case to me. And so I said, let's meet for lunch and talk about it. And we really like hit it off. And we found out that we both have a passion for training service dogs for people with PTSD, be it military veterans or victims of domestic violence, whatever. So we're starting this nonprofit thing where we're going to be finding rescue dogs. My last 3 pit bulls have been all rescues and they've been service dogs. So we're going to try and pull rescue dogs and train them and then place them with people with PTSD that can't afford to, buy a service dog or train a service dog themselves, because it can be really expensive. I'm working through a trainer with Jade, just because we're training Jade to do something a little bit different than my last 2, because she kind of started to do it on her own, but hopefully she's going to be able to detect my migraines before they get to the point that it's too late. So if she can, and the reason I found out she could do this is she would wake me up in the middle of the night and lick my face. And I'm like, Jade, why are you licking my face? Go back to sleep. And she was like almost aggressive about it. Like, you got to wake up. You got to wake up. And the first 2 times I'm like, okay, Jade, stop. But while I'm awake, my head's killing me. I got to go take something. And then I kind of realized, I wonder if she can sense it. And so she's waking me up. So anyway, I called a friend of mine that lives about an hour from me, and she actually trains seizure alert and diabetic alert and gluten detection and that kind of stuff. And so she's helping me with that part. And even being a trainer, and I can do a lot of the work myself, I just haven't done the scent detection stuff. I have already put in probably a couple $1,000s. I don't get a break because I'm a trainer. I'm going through the exact same program that everybody else has to go through. It's just that a lot of the things for the public access I can work on myself with her. But there's a lot of people that can't afford it. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. So we started our pilot class last night. Oh, Maria, where does your sister live? Maria, I can also give you some good resources or books. Oh, since when your niece is, yeah. So see, I don't know how to do seizure alert. But depending on, oh, you're in Colombia. Yeah, that's a little bit away. But yeah, the girl that's helping me does seizure alert. I just don't know how, like, if somebody can tell they're going to have a seizure, because what Jade does is she can smell the chemical changes in my body when I'm starting to get a migraine. So if I can tell I'm getting one, I have to have not chewed gum or eaten in the past 30 minutes. I have to wash my hands with non-scented soap, and then I have to stick cotton rolls in my mouth and get it soaked with saliva and then freeze it. And that's what we use for scent. So that's kind of what we're doing. But last time, and Mandy, I will come back and answer your question. So we started our first pilot program class last night. And since I want extra practice with Jade, I had my training partner teach it. And the way, when we've talked, we're like, yeah, I think we teach a pretty similar, but I was going to have her teach it so I could work my own dog. And it was amazing. Like just seeing how somebody else teaches. And I learned like so much from her, like, oh my gosh, that's such a better way to do it. The reason I'm telling you this is you can always learn new things and sharpen your skills and learn from other people and learn from other trainers. Sometimes there's a lot of competition among trainers, but I try to really learn from other trainers. I think it's good to learn from other people. And one of the things that she taught me last night, I used today on a really difficult dog, and it worked. I mean, it was amazing. Don't be afraid to like ask other people or get different, opinions on things because you can always learn. Okay, I'm going to go back up and answer questions now. So Mandy asks, Maggie, our almost 8-month-old lab boxer mix, will sometimes wake us up in the middle of the night to go potty. Is this okay? There are days where she will sleep throughout the night without waking us up. Yes, that is totally normal. My dogs still sometimes get up in the middle of the night and go out and use the dog door. And sometimes they sleep through the night. I think it just depends on how active they were, during the day. I think a lot of it depends on, because my schedule, it's never consistent. I try to be home at like 4:00 so that I can feed them at 4. But that doesn't always happen. So if I feed them later, then sometimes, they're going to have to potty like during the night. In fact, this morning I woke up to somebody had an accident, and I don't know which one it was. I'm thinking it was either Jade or Daphne, just by the size, because Maddie's quite a bit bigger, so her poops are pretty big. But they went on the top of the stairs. For some reason, they didn't make it all the way down the stairs. And my dogs are 3, so yeah, it's totally normal for dogs to sometimes wake up in the middle of the night and have to go. So yes, it is still totally okay. And there's a lot that goes into it, like the time you fed them, if they had anything after that, if they've been drinking a lot of water. There's a lot of fat, but yeah, totally normal. I have a puppy board and train staying with me right now. She's a handful. At her own home, she gets her owner up twice every night, and at my house, she will sleep through the night until 6:30. So I pretty much know 6:30 she's going to start whining and barking, and I have to get up and let her out to go to the bathroom. Last night, she actually got me up at 12:30 and had to go out. So pretty much the same routine. What time did I feed them? I fed them pretty close to the same time that I usually do, so it's not like it was a lot earlier or later, and I always let them go out to go potty before we go to bed. But even her, she's probably 6-7 months, and this is like her 3rd board and train with me. Not because she's not learning, but her owner travels a lot, so he just has her come and stay with me and pays me my board and train rate because we still do training with her. So she's pretty much like on a good schedule routine. But last night she just got up in the middle of the night instead, and I don't know why. It was probably just something different, but yeah, that's totally normal. Oh, Maria, so this is all very new to her and her family, both having a puppy and the seizures. So is there's got to be a place like in Colombia that they can reach out to. I mean, I know there's trainers in Colombia. There's trainers all over the world. But there's got to be, trainers that can train seizure alert dogs. But if you want to email me, I can recommend some of the books that I have that honestly I haven't read yet. but I can look through and see if they talk about detecting seizures. I've trained mobility dogs before, and right now I'm learning how to train emotional support dogs. But I've never, like I said, I've never done like seizure alert or diabetic alert. But even if you get on Amazon, there's a lot of books out there on teaching service dogs. So even if there aren't resources in Columbia, there's probably several resources that you could go to. Okay. Brian, long story on the trail. I know you love pit bulls. Yes, I do. But that being said, there are a lot of people that have pit bulls that are irresponsible. And not going into detail, I've had my own really, really bad traumatic experiences with other pit bulls and my dogs. And I don't blame the dog. I blame the owner. Because these dogs were, probably tremendously abused from what I found out later. But yes, just because I've had 8 and I have 4 now, I do love the breed, but I know that they're very big and they're very strong. And if you have irresponsible owners, it can end very badly. So, yes, I will never be offended if you say anything about pit bulls. But usually when I hear about dog bites or bad things, I'm like, oh, please don't let it be a pit bull. Like when you hear something on the news or somebody said, oh, my neighbor got bit really bad, I'm like, oh, please tell me it wasn't a pit bull. Because when it's a pit bull, it ends up on the news. If it's a Chihuahua or a Lab, it never ends up. But that's just how it goes. So this guy had 2 on the trail and also another dog on a leash, but nobody was holding this dog. One lady had 1 dog. The guy had another third dog was loose. The 2 pit bulls were going nuts. And I put Peyton on a sit. The third dog came running up to me. He was fine. They finally walked by. So we went back on our way. I got to scroll up. I put Peyton on a sit, 2 pit bulls absolutely going nuts, freaking my dog out. I asked the guy if he could put the third dog on a lead. He said he already is. I said, can you hold the lead? My dog is starting to freak. He called me an idiot and said, don't tell me what to do. Oh my gosh, and threatened me with 1 pit and said, you want some of this? I just walked away fast. Oh, so you were not wrong in putting your dog on a sit. If ever, and I'm sorry, see, that's what I mean, is it's stupid people like this that give the breed a bad name. And he obviously doesn't train his dogs, because if he did, they wouldn't be freaking out and causing your dog to freak out. I honestly would have probably turned him in, because that's a threat. Like, he threatened you with one of his dogs, and that's just not right. That's ridiculous. So sometimes if I'm working with a reactive dog and there's like other dogs coming, and I know that the dog that I have is going to react, I will step off to the side of the trail and I'll put the dog in a sit. It's either called a come front, sometimes it's called sit front. So you bring the dog in. So if this is my dog and we're walking, I'll do a come front, bring the dog in, sitting, facing me, and I will fast feed treats while the other dogs walk by. If it's a situation where his dogs are going crazy and your dog's going crazy, it might be better to just walk in any direction you can walk to get your dog out of there. And it's not wrong to put your dog in a sit to let other dogs walk by. But if you're afraid for like your safety and you're like, oh, wow, those dogs look like they are out of control and my dog's going out of control, it's probably better to just increase distance as much as you can any way you can. So even if you have to like walk up the side of a mountain, I mean, if you're like on a path and there's water on both sides, like you may not have any place to go. But if there is any place to go, I would try to do that. But no, what you did was not wrong. That's actually, responsible to put your dog in a sit, let them pass by, and asking the guy to put his dog on a leash is not unreasonable at all. I've asked people a lot of times to do that when I'm walking a reactive dog. It's like, hey, this dog is not really friendly. Could you put your dog on a leash? But I've honestly never had somebody be so rude. So that, I don't know if there was a way you could have found out like who that was, but I probably would have reported him. But yeah, I'm sorry that happened. But yes, I think you did the right thing. And it's too bad that some people are ignorant. And I think actually he's the idiot, and you did right. So you did the right thing. And then, depending on the situation, you could either do a sit. So there's one dog that I work with that is super reactive, and so if we're walking, sorry, my back hurts. If we're walking and there's no place to go, I will put him in a down, and we'll do a down. And when he's doing a down stay, he's a lot less reactive. He's very focused. But this is like, we don't have anywhere else to go, so we're going to do a down stay, and we're going to do the engage, disengage, and let the other dog walk by. And that works for him. And so you doing a sit is perfectly normal. Now, if the other dog is like up on hind legs and trying to get at the dog I'm walking, if there's any way that I can go in a different direction and just avoid the situation altogether, I'm going to. That doesn't always happen because it's either somebody's driveway or it's out in the road and get hit by a bus. So sometimes I'll choose the driveway and then do a downstay and let people pass. So yeah, you totally did the right thing, and it's just too bad that guy was a jerk. I would also say, because of the incident that I had, I will often carry citronella spray or something with me. And I will even tell people, like, your dog's not acting friendly. If you don't get your dog under control, I am going to spray. And I just warn them. I did ask animal control this question, and they said, you have every right to protect yourself and your property, and your pets are considered your property. So you have every right to protect your own dog. Now, that guy probably would have gone ballistic if you'd sprayed his dog, but and the laws might be different per state. I'm not sure, but in our state, we do have the right to protect. We do have leash laws as well. So if I have my dog on a leash and other dogs are off leash and I feel threatened, I can absolutely spray them with citronella, and the citronella is not going to hurt them. So it might just make the owners mad. But yeah, it's really unfortunate when stuff like that happens, and I hate hearing about that. Unfortunately, there are a lot of bad pit bull owners out there. Okay, Julie, while we were out for Halloween, I had a dog run out of its house and ran over to Ellie. I did throw a treat bomb, but the dog wasn't interested. What happened was they sniffed each other, and that was it. Oh, good. The other dog ran off, but Ellie wanted to run after the dog, but I distracted her with treats on the floor and then proceeded to catch up with everything. But this is the second Halloween that happened to us. I can actually see that happening a lot just because everybody's opening their door for trick-or-treaters, and if they have, dogs, it's really easy for the dogs to slip out, especially if they see another dog. And when we had trick-or-treaters, I would have a baby gate up at my front door so that I could open the door safely without having my dogs get out the front door. So, but I mean, you can't really tell all your neighbors to do that, but I'm glad it went well. And usually if a dog runs up to your dog, and it's long, if you can stay calm and just let the dog sniff, most of the time it's going to end well. They just sniff and it's like, oh, okay, whatever. And then the dog goes on his way. And I'm surprised the treat bomb didn't work. I have had it work quite a few times, but I'm usually carrying Pupford salmon treat. So I get the stuff that smells like salmon, tastes like salmon, because depending on what you use, the treat bomb has to be more exciting than the other dog. So if you just use like kibble, I don't know what you used, but if you use something, like a medium value treat and throw it at the dog might be like, they're just milk bones. I want to go see this dog. If you throw something like bacon or chicken or hot dogs, then the dog might be more like, oh, wow, I just hit the jackpot. I just got all this bacon. So does that make sense? And if this is the second Halloween that it's happened, I mean, I don't want to tell you not to take your dogs, but since it's so likely to happen that people are going to open their door and their dogs are going to escape, it's almost, to me, not worth the risk of having the wrong dog run out and run up to my dog. So it's kind of a personal choice. If you want to take your dogs, just know that there's the possibility that could happen. So yeah, if this is the second Halloween, then maybe next Halloween I would not take my dogs. But like Brian, I've had a traumatic experience. I've had 8 pit bulls, and my dogs have never started a fight with another dog. But I've had, even back when I had German Shepherds, I've had my German Shepherd attacked, and I've had 3 of my own pit bulls attacked by other dogs. And one was a Great Dane, one was a pit bull. Can't remember what the other one was. So, yeah, I just like to avoid those situations. So Renee says, yes, he did threaten Brian, and we're training Peyton to not be so reactive with other dogs. Yeah, so when you have somebody like that, it just throws all your training down the drain. And Brian, I would kind of be afraid too, because he sounds kind of like a jerk. I would just take something to protect yourself, or maybe take your phone and snap a picture of him, so that if he does threaten you again, you at least have a picture. And I don't know, take a taser. I don't know what I can tell you to do that is like, I don't know what's illegal and not illegal. But I would just make sure that you can defend yourself and defend your dogs. There have been times when I have picked different routes or gone on different trails just to avoid certain people that I know are not responsible and have aggressive dogs. And I just don't even want to take the chance. So I'll just go walk somewhere else. So, yeah, if, next time, if you can find out like what he's driving, try to get a vehicle, try to get a license plate number, and you could turn him in, because that's definitely threatening. If there is a chance you're going to see him on the trail again, turn your phone on record and get it on tape, because otherwise it's your word against his. But if you actually have proof of it, then there's, something that they can do. Also, I know that, so a friend of mine has 2 Malamutes, and they're really, really big. And, Malamutes are very vocal, and they like to bark and howl and stuff. And so she had her dog off leash, and her dog like ran up to somebody, not aggressively or not in a bad way, just ran up to somebody. And that person called animal control and said I felt threatened and I feared for my life. And my friend actually got ticketed. And her dog now has a mark on its record as dangerous, or she can't have it off leash like ever. So you can definitely say that you felt threatened by him and his dog, and that he threatened to sick his dog on you. If I were you, I would maybe even file a report anyway, even though you don't know who he is. At least you have something on record, so that if something does happen again, you can go back and say, okay, this is the second time. Again, see if you can get any information that you can about him. But yeah, I'm sorry that happened. It just makes hiking not fun. I think I've told you guys. Hi, Danny. So Danny, I'm actually working with a guy right now that's from Australia. He's been here in Utah for about 6 years, but I love his accent, and we are training his rescue lab mix. But yeah, I actually told him about you. I told him about our live Q&As, and that you pop in from Australia at wee hours in the morning. So I'm glad you joined us. Oh, Julie, you did have the salmon treats. Well, if the salmon treats didn't work, then you might have to try hot dogs or bacon or something a little bit more like stronger. Karen, I walk with a spray now too. Good. Been attacked once and have issues with loose dogs unsupervised. Unfortunately, I have too. And it's really sad, but because of some past issues, I really feel, and as much as I hate to do it too, I'm going to protect my dogs, and I'm not going to let my dogs get attacked and hurt because, other people are irresponsible. So, I carry it too, just in case. And if somebody wants to get mad at me for it, then fine. But, and you're right. It is the owner's fault. And, in the area that I live, there's a huge dog population, and because it's a very dog friendly town, everybody thinks that their dog should be off leash, and that they should be able to take their dog everywhere off leash. But there are still places where you have to have your dog on leash. And I tell clients, like, even if you have a reactive dog, you still have every right to walk your dog. And it's not fair that you're trying to work with your dog and be responsible, but you have all these loose dogs running up. And so, I'll usually warn people that have loose dogs. I'll say, hey, he's not good with dogs. And they try to get their dog back. And if they can't, a lot of times I'll stay calm and let them sniff and hope for the best. But then if something happened, I would probably try and treat bomb the other dog, or, just do something. But yeah, there's 2 different sprays that I use. One, and I don't have them with me. They're in my car. One is the citronella spray. It's called Spray Shield. And then I also use one called, what's the name of it? It's pepper spray, but it's temporary. So it's not going to cause any long-lasting effects, but it's enough that it's going to burn. And you want to aim right for their nose so that they sneeze. But I have that one just in case I need a little bit more than citronella. So yeah, I would start walking with that too. And actually with the pepper spray, if the guy threatens you again, you could use it on him. But again, I don't want to tell you to do something that's going to be illegal. So Julie, I put it up its nose, but it was more interested in Ellie. Yeah, I mean, if you have a dog that's just like really, really focused on your dog, sometimes treats just aren't gonna make a difference. If you can, sometimes you can pick your dog up or you can try to put something in between them. But a lot of times, if you just stay calm and let the dog sniff, chances are everything's going to be fine. But then you will sometimes have that dog that like escapes and isn't friendly and like runs up to your dog. So that's what I was worried about, or what I would worry about. Okay, Willow. Let me just write your name down. And Willow, I can't remember where you're from. So if you want to tell me where you're from, I'll put you in the drawing. And while I'm here, I'll write down Anita. Hi, Anita. Okay. I recently adopted a German Shepherd, and she has bad separation anxiety. She also sometimes becomes too overprotective of me when I take her to work. I work and handle other dogs. Is there a possible way that I can work with her on these? Yes. They're two separate issues. So you can work on the separation anxiety. What I would recommend, since I'm not an expert on separation anxiety, I know that Pupford has a trainer and there is a course out there on separation anxiety. And I know like vaguely what to do, and I have worked with dogs on separation anxiety, but like I said, I don't do a ton of it and I'm not an expert on it. So I would check out that course because I don't think it's very much. And I would just go through the Pupford course on separation anxiety. I think that's going to be your best bet and you'll get your best information. And so that would be like a separate issue. And then with the becoming overprotective, so what do you do where you work with and handle other dogs? And is she becoming protective of you around other dogs or around other people or both? If possible, if you can take her to work but crate her, so that she's still there with you, but she's crated with like something like this filled with peanut butter that's frozen, or a stuffed Kong. I was working with a dog today that had really bad anxiety. So I had a bag of turbo tendons in my car from Pupford, and I got a turbo tendon out and gave it to the dog, and the dog like relaxed right down on Jade's bed. We did it here in my office, but the dog laid right down, chewed on the turbo tendon, and relaxed. And before she was pacing and whining because she could hear noises, and she has like really bad anxiety. And so we were doing some mat work. I was trying to get her to calm down, and gave her a turbo tendon, and she laid right down on the bed and totally chilled. So the first thing I would do, Willow, is Iowa. Okay, let me write that down first. If you want to email me, I'm writing my email. Oops, I spelled it wrong. Oh my gosh. If you want to email me and ask for the relaxation protocol, I can send you that. And if you can get your dog to like go to a mat and be calm while you're working with other dogs, that would be a good way to start. Is doing some mat work, some relaxation, having good things happen while you work with dogs. So it's like, okay, I'm going to handle this dog, and you're going to be over on your mat eating a bully stick or eating a yak chew or something like that. Just make sure that no other dogs have access to her and her resource, because that could start a fight. So you want to just make sure. That's why I was recommending the crate. Like if you can put her in a crate with something to do and something to chew on, that might be a good idea, because then she's like separated from the dogs but could still see you but can't like really guard you. Does that make sense? But then you can still handle the other dogs. Let's see, it'll be 3 weeks tomorrow and she's 3 years old. Yeah, so she's just getting into her adulthood. About 3 years is when they reach maturity. And sometimes it's just in the genetic makeup for German Shepherds to be protective. I've had, how many German Shepherds have I had? 3, I think. I've had 3. One was super protective. The other one really wasn't. Dakota, he wasn't unless it was dark and he couldn't see who it was. Then he would like give a warning bark. But yeah, sometimes it's just kind of in their genetic makeup that they're going to be protective, because that's one of the things that they were bred to do. So you can't train genetics out of a dog, but you can teach them what you want them to do instead. So like instead of protecting me, I want you to go lay on your mat and do this, but you'll get rewarded for this. Like you'll get rewarded for staying calm on your mat, and I'll toss treats to you. I'll give you yak chews. I'll give you bully sticks, something that that he can or she can do like on her mat. Like if you can see Jade right now, like she's just laying on her mat chewing on something. And so like getting her to be able to do that. I also so Jade will sometimes get a little jealous when she's the one that always wants all the attention. So if I'm petting another dog, she'll like try to come in and push her way in. And so I actually put her in a sit and a wait, and I'll tell her to wait, and then I'll give the other dog a treat or pet the other dog, and then I reward her for waiting and not trying to bully her way in. So we work on a lot of impulse control exercises like that with Jade. And she'll do it with other people. Like if other people are petting my foster dog, Jade will just like push her way right in, like, oh no, but it's all about me. And so I'll bring her out and I'll put her in a sit and a wait, and then let them pet the other dog. And it's like, okay, now it's your turn, and now they can pet you. So it's just teaching that impulse control, and that they will get what they want. They will get the attention, but they have to kind of wait for it. But then good things happen. So you could try to do something like that. But if you email me and just tell me that you want the relaxation protocol, I'm happy to send that to you. And I would start on that. Okay, Maria, I've been working with Trivex on leash reactivity, and we are doing much better. Good. We are now able to walk by dogs. Good. And trucks, runners, people at a closer distance with him staying focused on me. That's awesome. Plus, I've noticed that he does well if we are following other dogs. I learned there are pack walks organized in my area. Is this a good way to expose Trivex to other dogs in a controlled setting? Yeah, I think it would be good. You could try to do it from a distance, and it depends on, I mean, there's probably some good pack walks, and there's some that I know around here that do it, but they use shock collars to control the dogs, and I'm absolutely opposed to that. But if they just use leashes and there's no like shocking dogs, and if you can control your distance with the other dogs, I would say try it. And I would start from a distance and see how Trivex handles it. And then maybe move a little closer, move a little closer, move a little closer. And just see how it goes. And then if it like goes bad, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is not gonna, he's way too over threshold, then I would just leave. and say, well, we tried. And then you know that it's too soon. But if he's walking by other dogs and staying focused on you and doing well, then as long as it's an organized and all the dogs are on leash, I would say absolutely try it. It might go really well. So, but good work on all of that. That's progress. That's awesome. Okay, Danny, 15-month Sadie Labradoodle. Is protective of me, and if my Maltese comes near me, she will jump up and try and herd him away, so much that he will not come in the room if I am there. They are happy and interact with each other when I'm not there. On walks and at the park, they are fine, but as soon as we get home, he becomes terrified of her and stays away. So Jade kind of does that too. Like, she gets along with all of the dogs at home. They play, but when I'm home, she wants all the attention. And so that's when I've started to do like the sit, wait. And I use wait because it means wait a second, I'm going to give this dog attention, and then I'll give you attention. So I'll do but it's not wrong if you do stay. So you can do a sit stay or a down stay. And impulse control. So, you stay here, I'm going to pet the Maltese, and then I'm going to give you attention. Also maybe doing some mat work and some relaxation. You can also do a thing where I would maybe tether Sadie to something so that she can't physically hurt the Maltese, but like tether her and then have the Maltese, like pick up the Maltese, but toss treats to Sadie. So it's like good things happen to you when the Maltese is here and near me. Then put the Maltese in the other room and all the treats go away. No attention, nothing fun happens. So it's like good things happen when the Maltese is here because then I get treats, I get attention. You can say, oh, what a good girl, Sadie, good job. Toss her treats. And then take the Maltese away and just ignore Sadie. No treats, no attention, no nothing. And then you can start to decrease that distance to where you can get them a little bit closer and a little bit closer. And then I would do the kind of what I do with Jade, where you put Sadie in a down stay or a down wait, and you have the Maltese on your lap. And then it's like, oh, good girl, Sadie. So you can reward for like calm behavior. So when you do a down stay, I'm going to reward you for that when the Maltese is on my lap. So does that kind of make sense? So you want good things to happen when the Maltese is there. And when the Maltese is not there, it should be really boring for Sadie. Like, she doesn't get attention. She doesn't get treats. You almost just ignore her. But the really good stuff happens when the other dog is. And that's really normal. I have the same thing at my house where, all the dogs do great. They play. But when I am home, Jade wants all my attention. And she will worm her way in. The only one she doesn't do it to is the cat, because she's afraid of getting swatted. So the cat still rules. Nicole, so I really thought trainers were weird using a stuffed dog. Yes, I use a stuffed dog too. And I have been called weird. I thought for sure dogs would immediately know it was fake. Some do. It depends on the dog you use. I put my stuffed dog in my dog's kennel so that it smells like my dog's. So I actually used my stuffed dog today with a dog. In fact, I used it with the dog that has the owner from Australia. And his dog is super anxious and whiny and not really reactive, but super anxious when he sees other dogs. And so we were practicing the look at that. And since I didn't have a helper to use one of my dogs, sorry, it's hot in here again. I used the stuffed dog. And so I always put it to where it's kind of like the side or the butt is facing the dog so that it's not a full front, staring, because that can make the other dog more reactive. And you could see the dog air sniffing and like seeing what scent. And then I have had dogs try to attack my stuffed dog, which is why I always use a stuffed dog before I use my own dogs. And when we finally got up close to the other dog, then it did a butt sniff, and then it went right in through the genital sniff and kind of sniffed a little bit, went back to the butt sniff. And so they really do think that a lot of dogs think it's a real dog, and it's good to use in training. When dogs are rescued from like dog fighting busts, they have to do like a temperament. They test them, and they always want to test to see if the dogs will ignore other dogs or just sniff them or try to take them down. And so because we don't want another live dog to get injured, they always use like a stuffed dog. And it's really interesting to see the dogs that will actually attack a stuffed dog and think it's real, or the ones that just sniff it and growl or something like that. And yeah, I've done that a lot with dogs, and especially in my reactive dog class. I will always use a stuffed dog before I use my own dog, just to see what's going to happen before I put my own dogs. And even then, I'm very, very careful with my own dogs. But the real dog has to come up and do a butt sniff for 2 to 3 seconds, and then we take them away and reward them for a butt sniff. So yeah, it's a good training tool. I use it all the time because I don't always have a volunteer to walk one of my dogs, but I also want to see what a dog's going to do with a fake dog before I have a dog that's actually moving. So yeah, it's actually one of those debatable things. Like some people will say, oh my gosh, you don't get a true reading, and the dogs know it's not real, and stuff like that. And yeah, once they get up and sniff it, and they're like, oh, this is fake. But I have seen dogs actually do a chin over, try to jump on the dog, attack the dog, try to like jump on and tuck. So I've seen them actually act aggressively towards the fake dog, not knowing that it wasn't a real dog. So it is a good training tool, and it's one that we do use. So I have a funny story. I had one of my fake dogs. I have two. I have one that's like a yellow lab that sits, and then I have looks like a black lab that stands on all 4 feet. And the one that was sitting, I was headed into Home Depot to work with a client. And so I had the dog just like and I was carrying it in, and I got turned in for animal abuse because somebody thought I was choking my dog. And it's like, seriously, you couldn't tell that was a stuffed animal? So even people can't tell that it's not real because they thought that I was carrying my dog in by its neck into the store, and I got turned in. I thought it was pretty hilarious, especially when I said, oh my gosh, I'm a trainer. This is a stuffed dog we're using for training. So yeah. Another story about my stuffed dog. I was working with another client, and I had my stuffed dog in the kind of on the side of the road. And I guess they have a lot of kids in their area, and people always speed. Like they go so fast through the neighborhood, but the neighbors, like everybody that was outside, noticed that people were slowing down because they thought there was a dog on the side of the road. They won't slow down for the kids or kids on bikes, but they were slowing down for what they thought was a loose dog. And so the people that I were working with actually ordered off of Amazon a fake dog to put in the road just to get cars to slow down. And I thought that was genius. I thought, yeah, I mean, if it works and you can get people to slow down. I mean, I actually have a leash on my dog, my fake dog, so it looks like a real dog. So they actually got one because people would slow down to see if it was a loose dog, and then they'd see that it was just standing there, and then they would go again. But yeah, I've had my fake dog used for lots of things. But okay, let's see. It's 7:00. So if we don't have any more questions, I will go ahead and do a drawing. And then again, we're going to do another one of these tomorrow at, what did I say, 5? I think we did it at 4 last week, and it was during some people's dinner. So we're going to try 5 o'clock. It probably won't go as long, like I said, but you're welcome to come and join again tomorrow. Okay, I'm just seeing if I got everybody's question. Okay, got Willow down. Oh, yeah, well, I like dogs better too, Nicole. No offense to all you guys that have kids, but I just do better with dogs. Yeah, put one at the end of your driveway. It's a good idea. In fact, when I was working with the guy from Australia today, and I had my fake dog's name was Leroy. I had Leroy on the other side of the road, and a car came like around the corner, and as soon as it saw the dog, it really slowed down and kind of looked and then sped up again. So people really do think it's real until they don't, and then they know it's just a fake dog. So okay, so let's go ahead and do a drawing. And then if there's more questions, I'm happy to answer them. I keep forgetting to work with Jadon. I know I say this every week. One of these weeks, I'm going to surprise you all and have her pick a name out of the bowl, but we're still working on having her pick stuff up. But I haven't taught her just to pick out like one name from a bowl yet. But tonight's winner is Mandy Morano from Ohio. So congratulations, Mandy. So Mandy, what you're going to do is email hello@pupford.com. I just put it in the chat. And tell them what kind of training treats you want. And I will email them as well and let them know. I'll let them know that you won. And they will send you out a free bag of the training treats. This is the chicken one, but you can pick any flavor you want. So you can, if there's one you haven't tried before, now's your chance to try it. My dogs, for my own training, I do mostly salmon and rabbit and sometimes beef liver. I like the chicken. My dogs like the chicken. I just have clients with food allergies, and it's usually chicken. And so, but I do have chicken on hand for my dogs. Yes, Karen, I'll see you tomorrow. I hope you can join tomorrow. And yes, I need time to practice with my own dog. That's why my own dogs aren't trained, because I do this all day. And then by the time I get home, I'm too tired. And we are working on her picking stuff up. I just haven't worked on her picking like one name out of a bowl, but that's my goal, is to do that by the end of the year. How's that? That's my goal, is by January 1st to have her trained to pick a name out. Okay, so thanks for joining everybody tonight, and hopefully you can make it again tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow at 5. So 5 Mountain Time, and we'll see you then. Okay, bye-bye.